Good morning to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial is an important editorial. It is related to environment, protecting the planet Earth or protecting the people. It is an interesting editorial and a lot of words are there to learn from this editorial. Besides the editorial, you're going to work on errors and para-jumble as usual, editorial words. Now let us go to the vocabulary part, editorial words. So many words are there, in fact. What is the first one? A few are familiar. Fragile. What is the meaning of the word fragile? It goes with an object or a situation or a thing. Easily broken or damaged. Another meaning, easily destroyed or threatened. Conserve, protect something, especially something of environmental or cultural importance, from harm or destruction. Is also an important word, conservation. Embrace. Embrace, an important word. I don't know whether you have got or not. Accept, a belief, theory, or change, or a policy, willingly and enthusiastically. Perturb, an important word we have got for the first time. Make someone anxious or unsettled. Perturb, we also say disturbed. Posited, put forward as fact or as a basis for argument. This is also an important word. Effluence, obviously, when we talk about the environment, we have to use this word, inevitable. They go hand in hand. Liquid waste or sewage discharged into a river or the sea, usually from industries. Anthropocene, an important word. Already have learned the root anthro means related to man, mankind. The time during which humans have had a substantial impact on our planet. It has a negative connotation. Destiny, the hidden power believed to control future events. One word, destiny means what? Fate. And distort. Distort goes with, has two different meanings. One is a shape. If you try to change the shape of something, then we say the shape has been distorted. But another meaning, give a misleading or false account or impression of something. Don't distort the facts, usually we say. Apocalyptic, an important word, showing or describing the total destruction and end of the world. The world comes to an end, then we use this term. Apocalyptic, an important word. Avalanche, we have got a few times. A mass of snow, ice, and rocks falling rapidly down a mountainside. Usually it doesn't go with rocks. Rocks, we use the word landslide. Avalanche goes with a mass of snow, ice, usually glaciers. They keep moving and it goes more with glaciers, thin sheets of ice. Inhospitable, usually it goes with a land, terrain of an environment, harsh and difficult to live in. Inhospitable terrain, an important combination. Usually this word goes with weapons, lethal weapons, very harmful or destructive. Brittle, hard but liable to break easily. We have got the word brittle many a time. Ameliorate, another important word. It means what? Make something better. Usually something bad, you try to make it better. Ameliorate, an important word. Erase, it has got two or three meanings. In this context, completely destroy a building, a town, or settlement. In the context, completely destroy the forests. Fraught takes a preposition with. It means what? Filled with. It has a negative connotation. Fraught with problems, fraught with danger. Typical combinations. Vulnerable, we have got many a time. Exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally. Vulnerable, you can also think of words like endangered, jeopardy. Now let us go to the editorial and see what is there to learn from this editorial. A planetary adjustment. You all know the word planet. And if you take our solar system, you all know the planet Earth. It goes with the planet Earth. It is all about Who is fragile in the present situation? Is it the man or is it the planet? A planetary adjustment. You cannot make out the meaning of the and what exactly the editorial wants to convey based on these two words, a planetary adjustment. You have to read the next line. India must prioritize the transition to energy sources that do not upset the natural balance. Today, we talk about the environment, fragile environment, a typical combination, and how to protect the environment, another expression, conservation of resources, and preserving the pristine environments. This is a backdrop. Based on that, India must prioritize the transition to energy sources change to energy sources that do not upset the natural balance. Today, you all know when it comes to energy sources, there are two terms, four terms in fact. One is uh, conventional sources of energy, the other one, non conventional sources of energy. Two terms. Conventional means traditional, non conventional, not traditional. And two more terms are there nowadays, they are in the limelight. The other one, renewable sources of energy, non renewable sources of energy. Conventional sources of energy, they are not renewable, they are non renewable. Whereas non conventional sources of energy, they are renewable sources of energy, like solar energy and tidal energy. All these come under wind energy, they come under renewable sources of energy and are non conventional. So, this in a nutshell talks about India must prioritize the transition to energy sources that do not upset the natural balance. In a way, it talks about India should depend on renewable sources of energy or non-conventional sources of energy. Obviously, when you see a statement like this, there should be some reason. The editor talks about or presents the reasons for switching over to renewable sources of energy or non-conventional sources of energy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in perhaps his first address this year, on the theme of the environment, remarked that it was not the planet that was fragile, but people and their commitment to conserving nature. This is an interesting statement. Usually we say the planet, fragile ecosystems, fragile environment. But Prime Minister Narendra Modi made a statement. That statement says, it is not the planet that is fragile, but people and their commitment to conserving nature. People, it talks about not the planet, people are in a delicate situation, and it is the other way. This is an interesting remark, in fact, indeed. So this sentence talks about something new, a new way of looking at the present scenario. Usually we focus on the environment. We say it is in peril, it is fragile. But this view says that it is not the planet, it is a people and a commitment to conserving nature. There are two words over here, familiar words. Fragile means what? Usually we say delicate, easily broken or damaged. Another meaning in this context, easily destroyed or threatened. The other word, conserve, means what? Protect. In this context, the environment from harm or destruction. What is the reason to say that? From James Lovelock's Gaia hypothesis, and posited the interconnectedness of nature, that posited the connectedness of nature, to Nobel laureate Paul Crutzen, who warned that chemical effluents were altering the planet's atmosphere and causing harmful climate change feedback effects. Many have made the case that humanity is in the Anthropocene era and is like a geological force that is shaping the planet's destiny. This is a sentence, but it looks like a paragraph. To understand this, first you have to know the meanings of four words. First one, posit, means what? Put forward as fact or as a basis for argument. It is nothing but presenting a theory or hypothesis. The second word, effluents, means what? Liquid waste or sewage discharged into a river, any water body, a river or the sea, Usually the sources, industries. The third word, Anthropocene. This is an important word. Right now, this word is in the limelight. It is one of the buzzwords. What does it mean, Anthropocene? The time during which humans have had a substantial impact on our planet. Today, the planet is getting affected because of the activities of the mankind, and the impact is not something positive. Unfortunately, the impact is negative, and we talk about because it is changing or altering the present planet Earth, present environment. The term has come into the limelight, Anthropocene, an important word. Destiny, destiny in a nutshell, it means what? Fate, one word, enough to understand. That affluence is different, this is different. The hidden power believed to control future events. We use one word, fate. So, what does this sentence talk about? It talks about this James Lovelock's hypothesis, Gaia hypothesis. It means that posited the interconnectedness of nature. It says everything is interconnected on the planet Earth. Two, from that person's hypothesis, two, Nobel laureate Paul Crutzen, who warned that chemical effluents were altering the planet's atmosphere, from that person's statement to Nobel laureate statement, and causing altering planet's atmosphere, one thing, and causing harmful climate change feedback effects. Many have made the case that humanity is in the Anthropocene era. So, based on these two, they have made a claim that humanity, because they are making an impact on the planet Earth, they are in the Anthropocene era, means period, and is like a geological force that is shaping the planet's destiny. All these activities, when it comes to industrialization or urbanization, definitely these activities make a negative impact on the environment, and these activities shape the future of the environment or the planet Earth. However, this gives a distorted sense. Another word, distorted, means what? Give a misleading or false account or impression of something. One of the meanings. However, contrasting information. These sentences talk about the planet being damaged or the planet being receiving at the receiving end, and people making the mankind making a negative impact on the planet. However, that means contrasting information. This gives the distorted sense that it is a vaguely defined planet that needs protecting. So when you take this stand, it shows or it says we have to protect the planet Earth, obviously, but it is not the case. A notion reinforced by apocalyptic documentaries on melting glaciers. Why this? The writer uses one word, distorted. The reason for that, it starts with the same thing, the Prime Minister's statement. It is not the environment that is fragile, but the people. So obviously, when you take look at all these things, you feel it is the planet that is in danger or the planet that is endangered. However, this gives a distorted sense that it is a vaguely defined planet that needs protecting, a notion reinforced. I use this regularly. Reinforce whatever you learn. What does it mean? Strengthen by apocalyptic documentaries. This is an important word. There's editorial, a lot of important words out there. So, what does it mean? Showing or describing the total destruction and end of the world. End of the world, usually we use this word in that context. There's one more expression, doomsday. Doomsday also means the end of the world. Apocalyptic documentaries on melting glaciers provide evidence to say that the planet Earth is in danger. The truth, it is distorted, the writer says. Then what is the truth? Now he comes to this goes more with the statement given by the Prime Minister. The truth is more complex. Man's embrace of agriculture, the dominance of wheat and rice as food crops, and the clearing of forest tracts caused the first major large scale changes to global climate, though their effects were apparent only over centuries. It talks about, over a period of time, the impact of man on the environment, on the ecosystems, on the planet Earth. Man's embrace of agriculture, another important word, means what? Accept a belief a theory, a change, in this context, a particular practice, willingly and enthusiastically. The dominance of wheat and rice as food crops and clearing of forest tracts caused the first major large scale changes to global climate, though their effects were apparent only over centuries. Initially, did not realize, but they became obvious. There's one important word apparent. The impact of all these activities became apparent or obvious only over centuries after a long time. Atmospheric changes due to the dawn of the industrial age and the use of fossil fuels happened, relatively speaking, in a blink of an eye. This is an important expression. What does it mean? Blink of an eye. Within no time. Before you realize something happens, then you say it happens very fast, just like that. Then we say in a blink of an eye. Atmospheric changes. Reason? Due to the dawn of the industrial age, the main culprit, and the use of fossil fuels, another culprit, happened, relatively speaking, in a blink of an eye before we could realize. Excuse me. What is common to both these eras is that those who suffered the most are the poor, are those with the least agency to shield themselves from a perturbed nature. This is an important, it's a fact no one can deny. Industrial age, use of fossil fuels, negative impact on the planet Earth. But who bore the brunt of this? Bear the brunt means to take the worst part of something. The common man, obviously. What is common to both these eras is that those who suffered the most are the poor people. Whenever there is a natural disaster, whenever there is an impact on the planet Earth or a particular ecosystem, obviously it is the poor who get affected. Who suffered the most are the poor, or those with the least agency to shield themselves. Shield means protect. Very good. I appreciate that. Those with the least agency, they're not prepared to shield themselves from a perturbed nature. Another important word, perturbed, means what? Disturbed, one meaning. Make anxious or unsettled. Here, disturbed nature. It provides a few information related to what happened in the past to substantiate the statement. Last year, Uttarakhand saw an avalanche of rock and ice destroy two hydropower projects and cause deaths. The negative impact when the environment gets disturbed, obviously the impact is going to be negative. And to substantiate that, there is one incident the writer provides. Last year, Uttarakhand saw an avalanche of rock and ice. Avalanche, a mass of snow, ice, and rocks falling rapidly down a mountainside. But there's subtle difference. We use the word avalanche more with snow and ice. We use the word landslides with rocks, usually, usage point of view. Avalanche of rock and ice destroyed two hydropower projects, we all know that, and caused deaths, inevitable. The geology of the Himalayas, scientists have long warned, they have been warning rather, makes the region inhospitable to large mega engineering projects, and the several floods, landslides, and earthquakes over the years have underlined this time and again. What does it mean? If you go to Himachal Pradesh, or if you go to not Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, you come across a lot of hydropower projects. Scientists have been warning. If you look at the geology of the Himalayas, the entire ecosystem, the region, very fragile. It cannot take so many hydropower projects. In spite of that, they have gone ahead. That's a different thing. It talks about the impact of that. The geology of the Himalayas, scientists have long warned, makes the region inhospitable to large mega engineering projects. There's one important word. Inhospitable means what? It goes more with an environment, a particular place or terrain, harsh and difficult to live in. Inhospitable to large mega engineering projects. That area cannot take mega engineering projects. And what is the impact of that? And the several floods, landslides, and earthquakes over the years have underlined, emphasized this time and again, means repeatedly. It talks about the negative impact of these hydropower projects in that particular region. But how does the editorial end? But while the earth rearranges itself, it does so in a manner that can be destructive and lethal to those least responsible for causing the disequilibrium, unfortunately. But while the earth rearranges itself, but how does it do that? It does so in a manner that can be destructive and lethal. An important word means what? Very harmful and destructive. Usually it goes with, it also means involving death, lethal accident. One more combination, lethal weapons. To those least responsible for causing the disequilibrium. The common man, not responsible. The people, they are not responsible. But obviously, the impact, they have to bear the brunt. Thus, if fragile were to mean a brittleness needing care, then it is people and animals that need protection than a vaguely defined planet. This is the main idea of the editorial based on the statement given by the Prime Minister. It is not the environment that is fragile, it is the people. Here, the writer adds animals also, obviously. Thus, if fragile means what? Already have got something that can be easily destroyed, delicate. Thus, if fragile were to mean a brittleness needing care, then it is people and animals that need protection than a vaguely defined planet. It is not the planet that needs the protection. On the other hand, it is the people and animals that need protection. That's what the sentence says. India's position of climate justice is that it cannot be denied the right to rely on polluting fossil fuel to ameliorate the living conditions of most Indians who have limited access to reliable energy. This talks about India's position when it comes to using fossil fuels, India's position of climate justice. There's a concept, climate justice. Based on that, it cannot be denied the right, India cannot be denied the right to rely on polluting fossil fuel, or India cannot be denied the right to use the fossil fuels. Why do they need the fossil fuels? To ameliorate, an important word. What does it mean? Make something bad or unsatisfactory better, ameliorate the living conditions of most Indians who have limited access to reliable energy. They need energy, obviously. For that, India has to depend on fossil fuels. So it comes under something, there's a term or expression, climate justice. Thus, India will continue to fire, based on this, India will continue to fire coal plants, raise forests for industry, and build roads in fraught geology. In other words, put the lives of millions of the vulnerable at climate risk in the pursuit of economic development. This debate has always been there, development or environment. When we go for industrialization or urbanization or development, economic development, in that process, obviously, the environment gets affected. So the debate is whether we have to go for that, not to go for that. This sentence talks about, thus, India will continue to fire coal plants, raise forests. Raise has two or three meanings. One, it goes with anger, but in this context, completely destroy a building, town, or other settlement, but in this context, destroy the forest. We all know the problem of deforestation. Raise forests for industry and build roads in fraught geology. That means Uttarakhand, if you take roads, hydropower projects. Fraught is an important word. It takes a preposition with, fraught with, filled with. Usually it has a negative connotation. In other words, put the lives of millions of the vulnerable at climate risk. Vulnerable, those who are likely to get exploited, those who are endangered, or those who are exposed to the possibility of being attacked. We have got this word many a time. In the pursuit of, why does it do that? In the pursuit of economic development. India's commitment to net zero is set decades into the future at 2070. India is going to, the deadline net zero is set decades into the future at 2070, 2070. Unknown unknowns characterize climate science and India, given its size and population, will be disproportionately vulnerable. So this talks about unknown factors, look at the sentence, unknown unknowns characterize climate science in India, given its size and population, will be disproportionately vulnerable, not proportionately, disproportionately. How does the editorial end? It must accelerate, speed up, and prioritize the transition to energy sources that are minimally perturbing to the natural balance. Main idea, India has to depend on not the conventional or non renewable sources of energy. India has to depend on or switch over to non conventional and renewable sources of energy. India must accelerate, speed up, and prioritize the transition, the change to energy sources that are minimally perturbing, disturbing to the natural balance. They should not upset the natural balance because, and on this, the science is certain, because the planet, which may be in a form incomprehensible at present, will long outlast its current residents. It is a bit difficult to understand, but what does it mean? It talks about we have to switch over to the renewable sources of energy. Why? Because a planet which may be in a form incomprehensible, comprehensible means something you can understand, incomprehensible cannot understand. Comprehension means what? To understand, understanding, comprehend, understand, which may be in a form incomprehensible at present, will long outlast its current residents. Residents may not be there, but planet is going to be there forever. So it is going to long outlast its current residents. Obviously, it is the people who should be protected. They are fragile, not the planet Earth. It is the other way. It is the editorial provides a new perspective, looking at the planet Earth, and definitely a thought-provoking one. What are the questions you can think of based on this editorial? What is this editorial about? According to the Prime Minister, who is fragile? You should be able to write the answer for this. Which notion was reinforced by apocalyptic documentaries on melting glaciers? A particular idea has been, notion means idea, reinforced by all these reports, negative reports rather. What happened, relatively speaking, in a blink of an eye? Something happened in a blink of an eye. What is that? You have to write. What is India's position of climate justice? At the fag end of the editorial, you come across these two words, climate justice. Based on that, you should be able to write the answer. That's all about the editorial, an important editorial. Definitely, you may get as a passage in prelims or mains, and these editorials related to economy, related to environment, related to artificial intelligence when it comes to science and technology, they are going to be important for a long time to come. Economy, always important. Environment, another 50 years, it is going to be in the limelight. People talk about environment and artificial intelligence. That is the most happening thing right now in the world, and these things you may get as passages, either in prelims or mains, very important that way. Here, when you read an editorial like this related to environment, your focus should be more on the lexical terms. What does it mean, lexical terms? Related words. And these topics come under what we call effective vocabulary. And not only the words, you should also learn the word combinations. Word combination is very important when it comes to cloze test. And you have to make a note all these important expressions, words, word combinations. Then tomorrow, if at all you have to write an essay on environment, or you have to read and answer the questions based on a topic related to environment, it becomes very easy for you to comprehend and answer the questions. Now let us go to error location, first five questions. The first one, private companies which profits. You don't have to go beyond. Private companies, plural. Will you say which profits or whose profits? Very good. Whose profits have grown due to the high price of oil should offer discounts on cooking gas. A question like this, if you are really very confident, you can save your time by you read the first part, you know for sure there's an error. Don't read go beyond, save a few seconds. That is enough for you. But you got to be very confident. Having worked in both public and private sector banks, Mr. Rao is the ideal choice to take over as chairman. Even this one, you don't have to read the complete sentence, not required. Yes, very good. Even this one, you don't have to go beyond the first part. Is that right? What is this should possibility? Why not? Should is used. It has two functions. One is to advise or suggest. That is the meaning in this context. The other one, talk about the possibility, but the chances are less. They should offer. You should do this. You should do that. These companies should offer discounts. Nothing wrong with that. Having work is not correct. It should be having worked, having completed, having finished, having done. This is a non finite verb. What is a non finite verb? A non finite verb does not have a tense. It doesn't have to agree with the subject in person and number. And this is having worked, having participle, worked, past participle. So we use the term perfect participle. Having worked is perfect participle, one of the non finite verbs. The scheme, which will be launched during the next 2 years, require an additional investment of 100 crores. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. The scheme, which will be launched during the next 2 years, require an additional investment of 100 crores. An easy one should not be a problem. Question number 3. What is the subject of the sentence? The scheme. After that, you have a clause. Always put the clauses and phrases that add information to the subject in brackets, which will be launched during the next 2 years. Put all these words, the entire clause in brackets. Now you ask, the sentence is in present tense, affirmative, and the subject is third person singular. Will you do you have to add yes or no? Obviously, answer yes. The scheme requires. This goes with the rule present tense affirmative form. If the subject is third person singular, we should add s or es to the verb. The scheme requires. We have taken on the responsibility of arranging the required training, excuse me, and supervise the new staff. This is also an easy one, should not be that difficult to answer. We have taken on, we have taken up, we have taken on. Nothing wrong with that part. Please go to question number 4. Very good. Who is this? Balu Nayak, Sai Ram, Sagar, so many students. Wonderful. We have taken on, nothing wrong here, taken up, taken on, phrasal verbs, the responsibility of arranging. Responsibility of what? Arranging the required training. Here, training is a noun. Responsibility of arranging. Here, the verb in ing form. And supervise, no. Parallel expression, arranging and supervising. Based on that, here it should be supervising the new staff, arranging the required training, and supervising the new staff. And this question is based on what? Parallel expression. The last question based on error location. The Reserve Bank of India's decision to waive ATM charges have put banks in a difficult position. Parallel expression, yes. Where is the error? Even the last one is easy. Not at all difficult. All of you, please wait for a week. I'm going to come up with new channels and I'm going to revamp the whole thing. New sessions, free classes, a lot is going to happen. Please wait for a week. You will see. It is going to be a pleasant surprise. What is the subject of this sentence? The Reserve Bank of India's decision. The key word decision. To waive ATM charges, put this phrase in brackets. Decision have or has, obviously singular verb, has put banks in a difficult situation. You must have got all the five correct today. And it is going to be a long term plan on the eve of the new year, that is 2022. No, no, classes are there. I have to do my homework. For that, I need a week. Regular classes we are going to have. I'm not going to stop anything this week. You will come to know everything, just matter of a week. Ah, very good. That's what I thought. Easy questions, but all these questions are from previous year's papers. Do remember. That means actual. Sometimes the questions are easy. Sometimes the questions are difficult. There are two possibilities. The reason could be your standards have gone up. Otherwise, they wouldn't have given. You should be happy because if you say all the five correct, in a way, your standards have gone up. You should be very happy about that. Please wait, everything, wait for some time. This is not that easy, the para jumble from an international magazine and unfamiliar context. But if you read the newspapers now, this is in the limelight. What is the first one? Very good. I'll take this one. The world economy keeps producing nasty. Nasty means unpleasant. That's an important word. It goes with everyday English, conversation English, a nasty person, nasty behavior, typical combinations. Nasty inflation surprises. One is C. What is the second one? One is not A, one is C. Yes. What is the second one? No one has responded. Here you have to look. Very good. Who is this? Bharadwaj. I appreciate that. After that, Prithviraj also. Manoj, wonderful. The world economy keeps producing nasty inflation surprises. Then the writer has to substantiate that statement. How does the writer substantiate? In January, consumer prices grew by more than expected in America, Britain, and the Eurozone. And continuation of the same sentence. And America's rate of annual producer price inflation stayed close to 10%. Then you get two sentences, one shot. CAB, cab. What is it? Cab, CAB. Exactly. A is the second one, B is the third one. After that, what? Inflation is something. Very good. Who is this? Govardhan. I appreciate. One shot you got. Making matters worse. Inflation is something negative. Continuity of thought. Making matters worse, fears that Russia would invade Ukraine sent the oil price to over $96 per barrel on February 14th, its highest since 2014. After that, you have F. Then, on both sides of the Atlantic, financial markets have rapidly priced in more monetary tightening in 2022, comma, as some central bankers, financial markets, obviously, we have to talk about central bankers, have begun to worry in public that they face a test of their credibility, reliability. That means what? FDE. As simple as that. I hope you guys got it. Let us go to editorial vocabulary. Important words, but I've taken some of the words which are important from the exam point of view. Quite often you come across not based on the level of difficulty, based on frequency. If you read the passages or questions related to fillers or close test, you come across these words quite often. Fragile means what? Fragile, part of speech, adjective. Fragile environment, fragile situation also we say. Easily destroyed, C is the answer, perfect. Conserve, it's a verb. Conservation, noun. It's a regular verb. What does it mean? To protect something, perfect. That's right. Fragile building also you can say. Perturb, it's a regular verb. Perturb, perturbed, perturbed. What does it mean? Simple word, disturb. But here, make someone anxious. Third one, H is the answer. Very good. Destiny, noun. No one can change one's destiny, a popular saying, philosophical statement. So, what does it mean, destiny, fate? Something happens and that is beyond your, you cannot do anything about it. Affluence, obviously, noun. Industrial affluence, a typical combination. What does it mean? Uh, Five, F is over already. Liquid waste from industries that pollute the water bodies, we use the word effluents. And what is a typical combination? Industrial effluents. Answer is J. That's right. Distort, distorted, distorted. Distortion is a noun form. There's a regular verb. What does it mean? Give a false impression of something. No, no, give a false impression. Usually we say it goes with shapes, it also goes with facts, information. Don't distort the facts. A typical expression means what? Give a false impression. Destination, noun. Destiny also noun. Destination also noun. Destiny is different, destination is different. Destination goes more with journey, travel, trip, but destiny is more philosophical, entirely different. Apocalyptic, an important word. Apocalyptic reports, that means adjective. What does it mean? End of the world, to make you guys understand. Something that brings the world to an end. Doomsday, exactly. That's an important word. Brittle, obviously adjective. Brittle glass, brittle eggshells. I have already answered destination noun. I have answered, I have given the meaning also. Destiny is different, destination is different. Both are nouns. Brittle, where is it? Hard but liable to break easily. Inhospitable terrain, a typical combination. Inhospitable environment, another. What does it mean? Harsh and difficult to survive. It is I. Part of speech, adjective. What is the last one? What are you left with? Ameliorate. That is also a verb. Make something bad or not good, unsatisfactory, better. Make something better. Answer is G. Has anyone got all correct? That is great. That's all for today. Thanks for being with me till what time is it? Oh, 8:48. Because I haven't brought too many exercises, practice questions based on exam topics, I have brought only three. I thought it would take more time because of the vocabulary, so many words are there. Anyhow, have a nice day. Do remember to subscribe and share. Join the Telegram group. I'll provide the PDF. Try to work on today's editorial is an important editorial. That's wonderful. Very good. All the 10 correct. Uh, Important editorial, you have to spend some time and learn something